Hello students, welcome back to our online class. So in the last class we have studied about moon and satellites, okay, and regarding Chandrayaan 2. And so today we'll study the rest of the portions. Take out page number 25 of chapter 4, Reaching for the Moon. Take page number 25. Jayant, has India sent any humans into space yet? Now Jayant asked, has India sent any humans into space? Now Sarah, I know the answer. India has plans to do this by December 2021. I saw this on the news. The spacecraft will be called Gaganyaan. So when Jayant asked, has India sent any humans into space? So in that reply, Sarah said, yes, I know the answer. That she knows the answer, and she told that India has a plan to send a spacecraft called Gaganyaan in December 2021. Alan, but what about Rakesh Sharma? Wasn't he an Indian who went to space? So Alan also asked, what about Rakesh Sharma? Wasn't he an Indian who went to space? So Rakesh Sharma also went to space according to him. So he was very curious. Then Mrs. Vakil said, yes, Rakesh Sharma did go into space, but it was a part of a joint project between the Indian Air Force and the Soviet Intercosmos Space Program. But their line was different. Yes, Rakesh Sharma went to space, okay, but that was a joint project, okay. That was a joint project between Indian Air Force and Soviet Union. That means Soviet Intercosmos Space Program. We have also had astronauts of Indian origin such as Kalpana Chawla and Sunita Williams. Mrs. Vakil also said that we also have astronauts like Sunita Williams and Kalpana Chawla. So of Indian origin, they are originally from India. Natasha, did any of them landed on the moon? So Natasha asked, did they land on the moon? Mrs. Vakil said, no, Natasha, they did not. They just went into space. Only 12 people have ever walked on the moon, and they were all NASA astronauts. Who remembers the name of the first person to set foot on the moon? So what happened? Mrs. Vakil said none of them had went to the moon, but they just went into the space, okay. So only then, according to her, then again Mrs. Vakil said only 12% have ever walked on the moon, and they are of the members. So, and they were all the astronauts of NASA. So the full form of NASA is National Aeronautics Space Administration. Okay, so that only 12 astronauts have landed on moon, and they are from NASA. Who remembers the name of the first person to set foot on the moon? Now Vakil asked everyone, okay, everyone that who first landed his foot on the moon. Then the class, everyone replied in a chorus, Neil Armstrong, okay. Then she also asked, and the second one who landed on the moon? Then Sarah buzzed, Aldrin. So she buzzed, okay. She from the mouth, she told Aldrin. Then ma'am, we already know so much about the moon. Other countries have been to the moon and into space. Why did we do the same thing with Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2? And why didn't India send astronauts on these missions? So Sarah asked, okay, now ma'am, we know so much about moon, but and India have also went to moon and space. Now why do we do the same thing again with the Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2? Now do you know what is the Chandrayaan 1, as I have been explaining? So Chandrayaan 1 was the first India's first mission to moon, okay, which was launched successfully on 22nd of October 2008, okay. Who completed the lunar insertion operation. And now what happened? Now they are planning to launch Chandrayaan 2. Now, and she also asked why didn't India send astronauts on these missions. Now she also asked that why they did not send Indian astronauts to these missions. Well, it is not very easy or cheap to build systems for that, Sarah. So to this reply, Mrs. Vakil said that it is not that easy because it is expensive and it is very difficult to build systems. It's not it's very expensive, and it is not that easy. Now also with Chandrayaan 1, our goal was different. We wanted to survey the moon. Okay, so as I have told that it was the first mission to the moon, and the second mission to the moon, that is the Chandrayaan 2. Now what is the mission? Let us know. Chandrayaan 1 made more than 3,400 orbits. Now what do you mean by orbits? Orbits means circular path. Okay. So underline the word orbit and write circular path around the moon and sent back about 70,000 lunar images. Now what is a lunar? Lunar means pertaining to moon. Okay, pertaining to moon. So Mrs. Vakil said that the goal of Chandrayaan 1 was different, and that is why it is very necessary to launch Chandrayaan 2, and the goal of Chandrayaan 2 is also different from Chandrayaan 1. The Chandrayaan 1, this Chandrayaan 1 made more than 3,400 orbits. That means it circulated around the moon 3,400 times, okay, around the moon, and sent back about 70,000 lunar images. And from that space, it have also sent 70,000 images of the moon. Alan, I have seen many of those pictures. Some of them are very clear and detailed. So Alan said, yes ma'am, I have seen some of the pictures and they are very clear. Ritesh, but if we had already done with this Chandrayaan 1, why did we send Chandrayaan 2? So Ritesh said, okay, so if we have already sent Chandrayaan 1, what is the use of sending once again Chandrayaan 2? Mrs. Vakil said, you see, Chandrayaan 2 had a very special goal. She said, okay, you see, now this Chandrayaan 2, it is having a different and a very special goal. It was to study the soil on the surface of the moon near its south pole. So what is the aim of the Chandrayaan 2? The aim of the Chandrayaan 2 is to study of the soil on the moon, okay, near the south pole. This has not been done till now. The craters, they are extremely cold and everything is frozen. So fossils found on these craters can tell us about the early solar system. But this Chandrayaan, the mission of Chandrayaan 2 has not been started by now. Why? Because everything has been frozen, okay, at the craters. Now the craters are very cold and frozen. Now what are the craters? Craters means large bowl shaped holes, okay. Now these are very frozen and cold. That is why they could not start Chandrayaan 2. Veronica, like how life began on Earth. Mrs. Vakil, yes, the moon is the closest link to the Earth's history. Its surface, especially its south pole, is completely undisturbed. So the south pole, Mrs. Vakil said, south pole, that she meant to say that south pole is still undiscovered, okay, it is very fresh. So we might find things that tell us a lot about the early life of our planet. So it is the mission to explore the south pole and to study the early life of the planet. Veronica said, it's wow. Then Veronica said, wow ma'am, it's very interesting. Mrs. Vakil, it is fascinating, isn't it? But save some of your questions for Dr. Nair. Then as the students were asking too many questions, she said that yes, please save some questions for Dr. Nair also. If you are going on asking me only, what will you ask to Dr. Nair, is not it? So now Anuj said, I want to ask her how I can become an astronaut. So his aim was to become an astronaut. So he wants to ask Dr. Indra Nair that how he can become astronaut. Sohail, I want to know why other planets have many moons and we have just one. See, And Sohail, also we know there is not only one moon. The one moon we can see from Earth, because Earth has only one moon, but other planets have many moons. Is not it that Jupiter has maybe large moons? So Sohail wants to know that other planets, why other planets have many moons and why Earth has one. So Natasha, I will ask her about what I must study to become a space scientist. Now the aim of Natasha was to become a space scientist, so she wants to ask Dr. Nair how she can become space scientist. Sarah, here comes our principal with Dr. Nair. Now Sarah said, yes, well, with Dr. Nair has arrived in our class. The students stand up to greet the principal and Dr. Nair. The students stood up and they greet, to greet good morning, and they have a lively and after that they have an interactive session with Dr. Nair. So students, in this chapter we have got very much knowledge about Chandrayaan 1 and Chandrayaan 2 because these are two missions. But I want to tell you students, now this Chandrayaan 2 had already been started also, but that mission has not been accomplished. The Vikram lander, why? Because the Vikram lander, the lander which was supposed to land on the moon, that was called Vikram, and the Vikram lander crashed on the lunar surface, on September 7, 2019. But it was unknown, and it was found on only, the scientists found on only December that the Vikram lander has crashed, and that is why Chandrayaan 2 has not been accomplished. The goal has not been finished. So this is all about the chapter, so read it thoroughly, students. So till then, thank you.